welcome to the Moose Hunt Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Fickett, and today I'm sitting down with Mr. Nathan Theriault and Mr. Kenny Mayo. How you guys doing today?
Doing awesome.
Yeah,
It was a great day.
it was a great,
an
day.
awesome
day.
Yeah, we took a Bowflex on an adventure today. It's probably the most unique Bowflex there is.
Yeah.
When you guys come up from southern Maine, you must just wonder, like, what's he going to have us bring up?
We talked about that.
What's next?
You never know.
Yeah,
What's
like who's
next?
coming up past Augusta? Can you grab this for me?
I got to say, too, and I really appreciate it because, even just, I'm not sure I'll use it, but just looking at the Bowflex just, I think invigorates me and, helps it scares my muscles into just growing and staying consistent, so, it's not so much the actual workout, it's the knowing it's, could happen. But you guys bringing that up was awesome. And really the adventure that Bowflex went on today was, I don't think there's any Bowflex that's ever been on an adventure like that.
The stories that thing can tell.
Yeah, for history. So the whole backstory of that is we have these sheds out here on the table today for those that are watching, and we actually found these today. So we took the Bowflex on a little shed hunting adventure, kind of to break the ice for the year. So.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
We got lucky. We had 5 today? Found 5 sheds today?
We said it was gonna be a 5-shed day, and we went out there, and it was a 5-shed day.
It was.
5-shed day.
Yeah.
It was
We
awesome.
found 4 in the woods, and then on the walk back up the road, found one laying on the side of the road.
It was great. What a way to cap it.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And then obviously Kenny stumbled upon this monster. Like, I don't even. How old this shed is? It must have been really low in there, in that kind.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's definitely a good thickness, but it's been chewed. It's got some green. I'd say, past 2 years for sure.
Yeah.
Bleached out on that backside, but man, yeah, what a smasher. And awesome. It was really cool, and a bull that, we were just talking about, trying to figure out. I don't think we've ever seen laid eyes on this guy.
Gonna have to go through some old
we
trail
got
cam
some
pictures.
trail cam pictures to go through, but yeah, awesome. It was a great day to be out there. Always fun to be out there with you.
Yeah, even with the rain a little bit, it wasn't bad. At least you weren't sweating.
That's it.
That was nice.
No bugs.
Yeah.
No snow. Little patches here and there, but we weren't wading through it.
I did fall in a couple spots that were up to my knees, but it was like they were in like the ditches of the skid roads, and like I was like, this will be fine. Kabloop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a great day to be out there searching for, really some of these bulls we have history with, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Which is actually the whole meaning and point of this podcast. It's something that actually quite a few people have since I took this over have asked me what a legendary bull is, like why we call them legendary bulls, the history of them and stuff. So I figured it's a good topic idea since got the 2 main people here that started it all. So we can go over the history of a few of them, talk about some awesome hunts that we've had. So
Yeah.
let's dive into
awesome.
it. You guys tell us, what are legendary bulls? Why the name legendary bulls?
Well, I think you started off there, Nate.
Yeah, Kenny and I, when we started this thing, it was all about just, first of all, figuring out what we were doing out there. We didn't have anybody teaching us what to do, and everything was self-taught, and, just learning as we went. And, we ended up kind of perfecting it. And, of course, it's not just the hunting. It was the outfitting. It was, all aspects of the guiding world, and making sure that we were every year continuously doing better with all aspects, until it got to a point where it maybe was getting a little bit boring for me, maybe, or And I was driving down. I was on sled. I was heading into a spot, and I looked up the road, and there's a nice shed up.
Yep.
Shed on the road, and so it's not going anywhere, but hammer the throttle. I'm up on a wheelie,
Yeah.
I get to it, and I picked it up, and it's this beautiful antler. And I looked up on the hill, and there's the bull with no antlers. And,
really?
And this was Big Louie, okay? So I looked at Big Louie, and I'd seen him several times. I think a lot of us had seen him in that area, just kind of going through. And every time we'd see him with antlers, he was so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And there he was without his antlers, and he just stood there. and he was with his buddy.
Yeah.
It was another nice bull.
Maybe they'll think I'm a cow.
I think he must, it was like, all of
Yeah.
a sudden he's like got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
It was interesting, his demeanor at that point. So I watched him for a while, and I was holding on to the antler, and I'm like, oh, I kind of look back. I look over to the left in the woods, and there's the other side.
Oh, wow.
And I went and got the bull. Yeah, and that was kind of like the start of it. Like all of a sudden, we'd seen this bull, we'd had a lot of history. Like, could we actually find the sheds to an animal and figure him out enough to pursue him in 1,000,000 acres?
Yep.
Really, it's big woods out there. How do you really narrow it down? So the draw happens, and lo and behold, one of our repeat clients, a client that goes way back with Guy Randlett, gator hunted with us down in Florida, gets a tag. And I told him about this bull, and I was like, look, here's the price. And it was a big one. And we're going to go after Big Louie.
Yep.
You get to keep the rack, whether we harvest the animal or not, but we're going to go after this bull. So they booked the hunt. We ended up getting a velvet picture of him, and this whole aura was built around this bull, and it was like captivating. And started to put the pieces together, and then I think it was right before the hunt, I think it was even Sunday or Saturday, we were doing an aerial survey. We spotted the bull crossing this river, leaving, and he was like, and I was like, oh, my heart sank. I'm like, is this, so on Monday, we ended up going to this other spot, and I'm like, oh, just give him some time, maybe he'll come back in, who knows. On Monday, we go to the spot, had some action, called in this other bull. It was a nice bull. I actually had to get him not to shoot it.
Oh.
And I was very committed to this animal. So the next day, we go in this spot, and I was walking in. We had trail cameras that were set up, and as we're going in, I'm checking them, and bam, there he is on the trail camera. And he was heading back in. So I just started calling and being aggressive, and I basically threw the kitchen sink at him. I wasn't, I wasn't really thinking even back then in terms of, who's he with, why is he there, what's he really, what's the best method to work this animal. And wasn't, I hadn't picked up on all the cues. Well, he comes in, of course, I think Kenny and I figured it out because Kenny had harvested a bull there. I think we've harvested several there, but it was almost a place where these old bulls would just go to just be away from everybody and die. And die they do in there. And and so we of course I have a hard time sitting still, and I've over the years gotten a little more patient, I think, but I'm hammering in there, and next thing I know, we look back, and there he is. Out where we were, he's 400 yards away.
Oh.
He's walking down the winter road with his nose to the ground, smelling everywhere that we had been.
Towards you or away from you?
He doesn't know at this point. He's like, I'm all over the place. He's like, the woods are alive with moose in here. He doesn't know what's going on.
No, yeah.
Well, I see him, and I see this puddle, and I just go over to it, and I start splashing in the puddle, and I start light cow calling, just beautiful cow calls. I wasn't being aggressive at that point. I knew I was like, he came in quiet. He's not aggressive. I changed my tactic, and here he comes, and comes in 150 yards, and the client put a beautiful shot, and we'd anchored our first legendary bull. And that was Big Louie. And, at that point, it was like, can we do it again?
Yeah, was
Challenging
it a fluke?
yourself.
Was it a fluke?
Was it a
Yeah.
fluke?
Yeah, what I mean? Was this just the one outlier situation? Like, did it happen? Like, is this possible? This is public land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not like out west where it's private ground for whitetails where you can grow them. Like, this is...
Could we do it consistently?
Yeah.
So then the next year, it was Big Dodge, and I would say that, I mean, all the hunts, so many moose hunts that we've been involved with, that we've hosted, you know, this hunt for me was probably one of the high points and most special times that I've spent in the woods, because I got to do it with my best friend.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It just worked out that way. It was a bull that we'd actually, it was a backup spot the year before, and it was a last day Hail Mary. We went in there, and I start working some subordinate bulls. I mean, the whole place is thrashed up, you know. Everything about the first year we pursued Big Dodge was incredible. I mean, the amount of raking, the aggressiveness we saw on the road was unbelievable. And there was subordinate bulls everywhere. We were actually working a subordinate bull, and I just couldn't get him to respond. We're running out of time. And then all of a sudden, we heard Big Dodge start roaring. And the hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I looked at the client, and I said, we need to run at this bull. And run we did. We ran at that bull, and got to the point, I mean, it was getting close, and the bull was 100 yards away, and he's coming, and I looked at the client, and I said, look, I said, it's the last day, it's a once-in-a-lifetime permit. I was like, take the shot if you're comfortable. And it was a front-on shot. I'm like, shoot him right at the base of the neck, and that's what he had for a shot. And the gun goes off, and he hit the bull. The bull turned around. He ran back into the woods. He started grunting. He was back on his cow, and we just backed out of there. Notified the wardens we were going in there the next day to look for the bull. We get in there. There's actually like good blood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. You could see impact, and then where he went, and then right when he met the cow, we could follow the blood. Follow the blood right to when he went onto the cow.
Bedded with the cow.
Yeah.
Bubbles in the blood, and that was actually our first experience with a blood tracking dog. I think we called Suzanne, maybe. Yeah. I forget who it was.
Yeah.
But it was one of the ladies in the state of Maine. They're just fantastic. You know, we've been working with Lindsay now, but you know, when they follow a wounded animal, they over time develop this uncanny ability to just understand the mortality rate of the shot.
Yeah.
And after I explained the whole thing to her, she let us know that they can lose a lot of blood, and that animal is going to live. And the bubbles that we were seeing in the blood was because it was a low shoulder shot, and the arm was putting air in the blood and creating that.
As it was moving that pocket.
And it was a light colored blood, which is, you know, kind of a, so he lived, and the day before the October hunt, we were doing an aerial survey, or 2 days before the October hunt. We took a picture of a bull 5 miles as a crow flies and didn't realize it, but it was actually Big Dodge. He'd come out of his September range,
moved,
and was 5 miles as a crow flies,
right,
in this other area.
Wow.
In a different zone.
Completely different zone. I was just about to say that.
Man.
That's right.
Completely. If you were to see it on the map, you'd be like, wait, what?
No.
Right.
Insane.
And
Yeah.
so and this was before we were shooting, you know, a good lens out of the plane, and you know, so it took us a little bit to try to, you know cell phone picture, you know. Versus,
Yeah, the old cell phone.
I can imagine that from before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So now we got the equipment. You know, it's a lot different deal for us. But you know, so that was, you know, so we put a lot of pieces together. Big Dodge. You know, we went out to the Facebook following and named the bull, and what a good name. I mean, Dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the next year, we went after the bull, and it was completely different in there. It just wasn't the amount of just thrashing and just destruction and you know. But in my mind, I'm going in it the same way, which was a mistake. You know, you're always learning out there. If you're not humble in the moose game, you should get out of it, because you're going to be humbled.
Yep.
You know, and you know, your success is going to go down if you're not thinking about these little nuances, just like this. I mean, it was a learning experience. And The client I had, he'd been putting in for 7 years. Just a great guy. You know, it was like he was the right one to go after the bull. He had the right physical ability. It was a 2.5 mile walk
There's a
in.
ways in.
There was one way in.
Yep.
We looked for other ways in. We had to wait for the perfect wind. And on Monday, I looked at him on Sunday evening, and I said, "Look," I said, "sleep in." I was like, "We're gonna leave probably around noontime. We might catch a weather window mid-afternoon, late afternoon." I was like, "But plan to sleep in. We're gonna leave around noon." He's like, "Okay, sounds good. We're committed to this bull. This is what we're gonna do."
Yeah.
And I was very
That's
committed.
a heck of a commitment.
Yeah, you know, you got to though. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
when to really, you know, you got to make sure that you have everything in your favor.
Yep.
You know, I mean, because if you educate them, they're going to be that much harder.
Yep.
You know, and they are smart. You know, you can't look at them as a dumb animal because they're out there to survive just the same. And every year you hunt them, they get smarter and smarter. And if you're not getting smarter and smarter, you're getting behind the game. So go in there. We, you know, like I said, we left around noontime. We got in there, sat in the truck, had some different weather come through, some rain. Finally, he was kind of getting, you know, antsy. I'm like, let's try to come in the back. We got stuck in a beaver flowage back out of there. I'm like, let's just get back to the spot. So we got back in there, and sure enough, exactly the way it was playing out with the thermals and the wind and the weather, we caught our window, and we marched into there. I mean, hammered. We didn't waste any time. I knew exactly where this bull was living. This bull was so visible to us, and he really lived his life in 100 acres.
Oh, really?
10 months out of the year, he lived his life in 100 acres. You know, it was just that 2 months, you know, that October, maybe into November, but end of December, he was right back home. He was a loner bull. He was in there all by himself. You own the area, you own the cows in there, and just was a perfect situation for us to study an animal that was as visible as he was. We've never really had one, even now, that's been as maybe horseshoe bull. There may be a few of them that were, you know, similar, but, and so, you know, back up a little bit, getting ahead of myself. We were doing an aerial survey. This was after we'd put a bullet in him, and there he was, right. I mean, 100 yards from where we put a bullet in him. And I kept on the aerial surveys, and then all of a sudden, there's an antler. Spotted it from the plane. It was right before Christmas, and it was a place where, you know, it was an old road, but nobody was going to go in there. I'm like, I'm just going to give him time. I didn't want to go in there and blow him out of there and then make it that much harder to find his other side. So it was Christmas Day. I couldn't take it anymore. A lot of stuff happens for me on Christmas Day. You talk to my wife, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I'm gone. Get done the Christmas morning thing and I'm out of there. So finished up that Christmas thing and went in and I got that shed. It was really cold. There was like 3 feet of snow. It was Christmas Day. I brought the drone. I crashed the drone. It got stuck up in a tree. My hands were freezing off. I finally found a stick. I got it out of the tree. Thank God it was warranted.
Hopefully they're not watching.
And then I gave him some more time after that, because actually I got up in the plane with Bryce, I think.
Yeah, when you went in there after that side, I remember the conversation, because you called me and you said you were worried because you blew him out. You cut a running track. And you were worried because you thought, well, holy crap, I might have just blown him out of here. We only got one side, so now I just added my circle of 1 mile just went to 10 miles, you know what I mean? And you were concerned on that aspect. But
and this was a crucial piece of the puzzle, because when it came time to harvesting this animal, this is very important. So we got up there. We actually saw his track go out. So Bryce, it was Bryce and I and Jake. We went back in there, Jacob.
Yep, Jacob. Yep.
And I sent Bryce on the out track. And I got on the other track going around. Well, I want to say something too. This was extremely weird. He had dropped both antlers, okay? and I'm following his track, and he stopped at a spruce tree, and he rubbed the bases of his head on the spruce tree, and there were shavings under the tree.
Really?
And the only one that could have done it, the shavings were on top of the snow, and it was his track, and there was no other moose in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I was following, and I'm going through stuff that's so thick. I'm like, I'm not seeing places there's anything broken.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way he's got antlers. Well, sure enough, I had run him out of there then. Bryce and Jacob, we go back in there, and I follow this track again as Bryce is following his out track, seeing where he goes. I get on his track again, and there was this one place I got to that it looked like he just walked in a little ways and turned around and came out. Well, it was kind of a little bit of a knoll. And this time, I followed it up over. Well, he had gotten down over the knoll, and there in a tree was his other side.
No way.
He had rubbed a tree, and there was his other side. So we got the other side. Well, Bryce follows him all the way around, and guess what he does? He comes all the way back into home.
Wow.
Now, fast forward. Here we are, Monday. We're going into the spot. We get our weather window. We get in there. I'm going in there, beating everything up, pounding on everything up. And then I hear this bull over in this beaver flowage start grunting at us. Well, I'd seen him in the flowage before, so I'm like, oh, that's him. Let's go. So we start ripping up this skid trail. Well, the cameraman that was behind us, he's like, so now I'm up here, 15 yards behind me is a hunter, 10 yards behind the hunter is the cameraman. We're moving up through this strip. Cameraman motions to me. I look over the cameraman's shoulder, and there is Big Dodge, 20 yards, standing in the winter road, looking at us. I'm like, oh my word. So I'm like, what do you do? Like, he's standing right there. So I just started raking on the ground behind me. It's the only thing I could do. And he starts getting fired up. He walks up the other skid trail, comes right in broadside. I couldn't talk to the client. He had the shot. Yeah. He just didn't know if it was the right bull. He's like, do I shoot it? Next thing I know, I see the bull getting antsy. All of a sudden, his demeanor changes. He starts running. My heart sank. I ran after the bull. And then I'm like, what am I doing?
He's going to catch him. He's going to catch him.
like these guys are running. I'm like, just one last look at this thing. You know, so then on Tuesday, we didn't have the right weather. I'm like, you know what? We're sitting Tuesday out. Let's give him a break. But I remembered something. When we found the sheds and I ran him out of there, what did he do?
Came right back home.
He came right back home. Kenny is guiding the doctor, kills a beautiful bull. I'm like, Kenny, I'm going to need some help on this one. Let's tag team this bull. I got to go in there with everything now. You know, you just rattled his cage.
Yeah.
So Kenny and I get to it was like literally a line of demarcation. Like, this is where it starts right here. So Kenny and I are on the rhinos. I'm like, all right, head to the left, Kenny. I'm like, just step on stuff and, you know, sound like a moose in there. And Kenny gets in there, starts doing that, and then I'm like, do a cow call, I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we had worked it both. We had switched back and forth
on the way in.
On the way in. Then we hit the cedar with the red line. I call it the red line over there, but we hit the cedar, and they said, okay, let's switch off, and that's where I bailed off. And we said, okay, we gotta like, he didn't fire up to anything to this point. Okay, here's the kitchen sink. What else do we got?
Cow.
Chuck it at him.
Cow. Go. He's the cow. I'm the bull. So Kenny does this cow call, and this is Kenny's woodsman right here. He this raven was flying over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And the raven flares. Kenny gets me. He goes, Nate, he's like, a raven just flared in front of me. I'm like,
cool.
Raven's a raven flare. I'm like, is there a bull? Like, Kenny. So then all of a sudden, Kenny's like, Nate, I just heard a snap. And then Kenny's like, he's in front of me. He's raking. He's like, Nate, rake. So I start raking. Kenny's like, you got him. He's firing up. Kenny's like, rake again. So I start raking again. Here comes the bull. Steps right out in front of us at 75 yards. And he misses him.
I hit the ground in the woods because I know the bull's coming, and I didn't know the angle. I couldn't see the bull. I could just hear him.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And they didn't really, I mean, they had an idea where I was, but I was like, I'm going down.
If he hadn't have said it, I would have never known.
It was nuts.
And so then he drops this, so he missed him on the sticks. He throws the sticks down, wham, smokes him right behind the shoulder.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot. Bull whirls around, shoots one off the hip, and that goes off into no man's land, accidental shot. Hopefully nobody took that bullet. And then he anchors another one, and he shot one bullet right behind the shoulder on one side and one bullet right behind the shoulder on the other side. They were 2 inches apart from each other, both the exit and he anchored the bull.
Nice.
Yeah,
And Kenny comes out of that woods, and I mean, it was the end of an era. It was the we did it again,
Yeah.
and it was me and Kenny. It was Kenny and I, and it was such a momentous moment. And our client, you know, he was just so happy. I mean, the tears. I mean, he actually had his father had been cremated, and it was like you know, which isn't the first time this has happened to Kenny and I.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. Like from then on, it was like the legendary bulls. We can do this every year. Let's do this every year. Yeah. And it went from like the shed hunting. We go out there, and now we got the dog. We just want targets out there with the dog, you know. And we still have bulls that we're after right now, you know. But it was like, you know, let's follow these bulls. We don't find their sheds every year. We try. That's the next thing is like multiple years of sheds. You know, we actually have one bull, Maverick, that we have one full set and then 2 single sets. For the
Still
year.
out there.
Yeah,
he's still alive.
Still alive out there. You know?
Yeah, crazy.
But it was just like, you know, this will be our 22nd year. It's like, what else can you do? Like, how else can you up the ante, up the game, you know, for us, you know, like what keeps us interested, you know, and the legendary bulls is the pinnacle for us of our career in this company, and, you know, what we've done and accomplished and the time that we put in. And I just think it's just a testament to what people can do if you have the resources and you put the time in, and, you know, in public land. And with
where other
moose,
people are shed hunting and everything too.
Other people are shed hunting, other people are hunting, other people are hiking, bird hunting. Like, it's not just, I mean, it's pretty remarkable, and it's a legendary experience, you know, for us to be able to do that. It's legendary for us. We consider it legendary. I mean, I don't think, other than some people recently in the last couple of years have heard of, like out in Alaska and stuff like that, finding bulls and being able to watch them, you know what I mean, and then harvest
target them.
And then not even in to go beyond that, we're doing it, you know, commercially. It's not just an individual that drew a permit that watches it. You know, it's it's a whole operation, and it's a whole experience, and it's legendary. So it's sort of the start. But it's, I mean, the knowledge that we gained from those 2 bulls, you know. Starting with Louis, the first year we tried to kill him. The first year we tried to kill him. I mean, he was the most photogenic bull. I still think to this day on trail camera, he was the most photogenic bull that we've had. And we didn't kill him I didn't. I should have. I didn't kill him that year. But you know what I mean? And it's all that. And really the big part of I mean, you know, you heard it with Nate on Louis, and then with Dodge. I mean, without God.
Oh God!
I mean, holy moly.
I mean,
watching Louis leave the area, and all of a sudden he's back there and knowing what to do.
And you know, God just, you know, if you listen to him and you trust and you believe, he's gonna tell you, hey, just give it a day in there. He'll be back. You know, go back in there. You know, but give it the time. You know, don't let yourself get down. It was like Big Dodge when I watched that bull run away. I was running after him, thinking to myself, God, you got this.
Jesus, take the wheel.
I'm not catching up. And but yeah, great point. And Kenny, I want to just touch on this too. I mean, you know, we've learned a lot in general, just out there in the pursuit of the moose. But when you follow a moose, you know, and every moose is different.
And personality,
just like people.
Crazy.
And like Kenny said, like, we've learned so much from designating the time that is needed to follow these moose, and we've learned so much from them. And one of the biggest things we've learned is every moose is different. Every moose kind of reacts differently. Every moose has a different range of territory. The age of them has something to do with it. The location of them has something to do with it. Matter of fact, I just saw a post come through on the podcast a gentleman was actually asking about for some information pertaining. He's been watching our legendary bulls, and he's down in Massachusetts, and he has a bull that he's been watching for 3 years, and he's looking for some feedback on it, and he's seen the bull in October 26th, and then in mid-January, a friend of his got a trail cam picture of the bull 10 miles away, and he's kind of trying to figure out where he is. Well, very simple. 10 miles away in January is his home range.
Yep.
So in October, where he was out where the cows were. He's out of his home range and he's looking for bulls. That's exactly what Big Dodge was doing. The majority of these bulls come October are moving out of their home range, the cows that they've already bred, that are their home cows. They're looking for other cows. A lot of fights are taking place then. That's when they get beat up a lot. Sometimes they even die. But come that January, especially January, December, they're really coming home.
Yeah.
This gentleman wants to follow this bull and all that, and legendary bulls couldn't be a better time. Haven't responded to him yet. Hopefully he listens to this podcast. I'm sure he will, and we're going to get back to him on it, and hopefully he can follow this bull and get a better understanding where to spend more time and when to spend it there.
Yep.
Because what we've learned from these bulls is where they are at certain times, that's where they're going to be. Now, what can affect that? Cutting, habitat, cows.
Well, I mean, one of our latest legendary hits that we just took is a prime example that we thought he was dead and gone.
Yep.
I mean, Top Gun.
Yep.
We literally looked for him.
4 years,
We looked for sheds for him off 3 different years. It's been days. It's been days. And then he was gone. And now, I mean, the puzzle that we put together as a team through that, now we know why he was out of there, why he went back in, and why we were able to harvest him. I mean,
Perfect example. Crossbull.
Crossbull
Go in.
Kicked him
came
out.
in. We looked on Top Gun cameras. We see Crossbull. First thought was, that's Top Gun. And then upon further review, realized it was a Crossbull.
Yeah.
He came in there, kicked Top Gun out, took Top Gun's cows, brought him back. We were able to harvest Crossbull with a Gold Star family member. Just an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was a great week. That was a great hunt.
It was so fun being a part of that, and the Crossbull. It was such a cool hunt. And then, sure enough, took the Crossbull out of there. Guess who comes back in?
And we didn't see him. That was the crazy thing about Top Gun is we never saw him anywhere else in that area through any other surveys, through any of our stuff. Where did he go? And that's like some of these things. Like there's just holes. I'm convinced there's little holes, just like we're talking about with Dodge. 100-acre piece.
Yeah.
There's little holes. These things, there's a hunker right there. They don't move. Think about big bucks. We say, they'll hunker right down. You walk past them. You don't think a big bull does the same thing?
Yeah, especially in some of that thick growth, man.
man.
You can't see 5 feet in
That's
front of you.
it. That's it. So it's legendary for us to be able to do it. I mean, it's just awesome. It's a great experience.
That was a cool story to it all.
Yeah.
too.
It's a cool story, the end goal. Of course, the book now, we got, there's 10 racks that we've found. We've harvested 5. Matter of fact, one of the oldest member of the Cabela's family holds one of the bulls that we found the racks to. It's been a team effort to locate the antlers. They're all in the main lodge. Everybody can look at them. There's a story. A lot of the stories have been printed in national magazines, publications, New England publications. We want people to read the stories because there's something to learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's why this podcast is here. We want to teach people. We want to share what we've learned, and we want to highlight the team. We all go into that room and we look at those sheds, and Bryce goes in there, and Kenny goes in there, and everyone all the team members go in there, and this is a team. This is a team event for us. Shed hunting, coming up here and doing this and finding these bulls, and being able to walk into that room and look under the racks and read about the stories and the sheds and see the faces and then see the clients. And not every client goes home with a legendary bull, and as much as we could say, if we could guarantee we could go out, it's just not the case. It's not possible.
It's hunting.
It's hunting. We go out there, we do everything we can, and sometimes it works out, sometimes we don't, but whoever is the client that gets it. I mean, last year we took 2 legendary bulls. Both were standby clients.
Yeah,
You know?
incredible.
Incredible.
That's
Yeah.
that's the way it works. I
Yeah.
mean, there's
Yeah.
you never know. And I mean, fortunate that the big enough team and the effort that we put through. I mean, there's quite a few of these hit listers running around.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If we go through our list and we can't be everywhere at once, so it's
But we are everywhere.
we
once.
are. We're looking for them, and I mean, this is a prime example of of somebody that, who knows, maybe tomorrow we'll find that other side, or even this year off this guy.
Yeah.
And there's a new one.
Yeah, I got to go through some trail camera pictures from this year.
And that's a lot of it too, is like the puzzle for me. It's putting the puzzle together. It's just awesome. From trail cam pictures from years, saying, man, was that him 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, man, maybe it was. He was here 2 years ago and he's over here.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, sometimes that's the thing. Like a lot of times the racks will change from, like what the crossbow sheds that are in the
yeah.
rack room are a little bit different than when he was harvested.
We really had to put it together, but one thing stays true to that. Like when we harvested Big Dodge, we found the sheds from where the first shot was on Big Dodge. We found the sheds 200 yards away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We harvested the bull
Right there.
50 yards, within
shot.
50 yards of the
Shot.
place we had hit him the year
Yeah.
before.
Really?
Oh yeah,
50
yeah.
yards.
He lived
Yeah.
and like literally, it was right there. And even after the shot, we went and examined all his breeding piece
Yeah.
and figured out like even more so once it was down to figure that piece out. And it was
They were-
it was very
Yeah.
interesting the way they were placed, and the thermals play a huge part.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
all
how
that
he
stuff.
put his
Where
pits
he-
off the feed source, how many
Oh.
cows he had in relation to how many
where
pits he
the
had.
water source was, and
Yeah.
like there's I guess it's like with any animal, you can take it as far as you want, but when it's your passion and it's your livelihood, take it all the way. But I mean, yeah, very we're looking forward to it, always adding to the book and to the room. Legendary Hall of Famers there. It's very special, very blessed to be able to do it, and man, it's such an honor and a privilege to really chase these big guys around. And
We're going to keep adding to the book every year, and we're excited to do it. And, being able to get out there with you, Rob, today and just, cover this area and be able to say, oh, here's this right here is where we saw him. We saw him over here. And, oh, yeah, here's the sign. Be able to connect all the dots and, it's a good time to be in the woods to learn. Found 5 sheds today. We got the new shed dog out.
He's all tuckered out
we
too.
We got to tell the story too. So
this was right here.
he's 10 months old.
Yeah.
This was Huck's today.
You got to watch the YouTube video to see this.
Yeah, I'll
but-
throw this in the B-roll.
Yeah.
So Hawk, we're on our way out, and we're beat up. We've all taken diggers, and the 10-month-old dog is following at my heels and hits the road on his way out. He blasts down the road, and we all get on the road and look, and it's like, is that an antler? So sure enough, it's an antler. Call the dog back. Dog comes running back. Wins the antler. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great to watch.
You didn't
him
miss
work
it that time.
Yeah.
He grabs the antler. He's all proud. He's running down the road, and we're all happy and excited. And Huck's, 50 yards up the road, and this grouse takes off beside him. You would have thought somebody shot the dog. He drops the antler. Yip! Let's out a yip. Kenny and I are laughing. Rob goes, good thing he's not a bird dog. I'm like, I'm like, that's exactly how I feel about grouse in the woods. Scared the living out of you. Oh, it's so funny.
No, good day.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. So for those of the guys that have listened for a little while, I mean, right now we're trying to find Maverick. Today and tomorrow we're still trying to find
Magnum.
Magnum.
Yeah.
Magnum.
See, there's too many of them.
Yeah. Maverick was the bull we got for
That's
3
the
years.
size we had. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Magnum.
So we're still waiting. We still got quite a bit of
this
snow and
is the first real.
places.
You
We got the crew coming up in a little while, but pretty much here, it's what's today's
This is
date?
22nd.
Yeah.
It's the 22nd.
April 22nd.
Yeah, so April 22nd. I mean, it's early. Usually we don't get
It's-
out middle of
Well,
May.
last
yeah.
year we got out. Last couple of
was
years were
early.
early, which was
Yeah.
great. But now it seems to be more on track.
Yeah, a little more on track.
Yeah.
Still early, but it's we're able to get out there. We're able to drive into these spots,
Yep.
and we're excited. I mean, so there's a couple things going. It was. Every year, every winter's a little different up here, and the winters where there's lots of snow, they can't move as much. And these last few winters, we've had some easy winters, and it is wonderful for the wildlife.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
The deer and the moose are just thriving, but man, they are traveling. Some distance.
They are
That's what we were
everywhere.
saying walking today. It's like, which moose trail do I take? These things are everywhere.
Everywhere they are traveling. I mean, even our aerial surveys,
Yeah.
it was like, holy, this bull is here now, and he's over there, and he's over here, and he's, so they were really just going to the highest quality feed source, which is wonderful because, they're breeding until the end of November sometimes, some
Yep.
bulls, some places.
Yeah.
And, for them to be able to be done with the breeding and be able to move around without having to exert too much energy, at the same time being able to eat buds and strip bark and get that
That's right.
kind of that soft mass
Yes.
that has
Yes.
higher protein,
Yeah.
is so much better for them before they start switching into their spruce and the
Yeah.
fur.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just low protein, so very good for the moose. And what we're seeing out there is excellent, and we're excited, and it just means we're gonna have to cover more ground. And
Yeah. The legs are a little sore. And
hopefully the dog doesn't run past too many antlers. But it's
good
fun.
training for him though.
It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great. It's always fun being out there, and it's
Great
great
time.
great fellowship. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find some more tomorrow. We will.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
will.
We know we are.
Yeah. We found another 5.
Another
5 shed
tomorrow.
day.
Yeah, another 5 shed day.
Yeah, we'll take it. So.
Perfect. Well, awesome, guys. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we appreciate all you guys, all the listeners, and
Definitely.
all the
Yes.
all the watchers. It's been cool now that we have like the social media accounts. It's cool to see all the messages come in and people interested.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think too, I want to jump in real quick,
Yeah, absolutely.
really appreciate, like Rob, like you said, and Kenny, having the feedback, you guys coming
Yes.
in and talk. I just love it. We just love
Yeah, it's
talking
great.
moose.
Yeah.
It's like that, the gentleman, from Massachusetts watching those
I know you're
bulls,
going to be on your phone the whole rest of the
Oh,
night.
yeah, like I
Gets
was,
us fired right
I,
up.
I was
for it.
like, maybe I should just give him my number, be like, just call me, let's talk it over. Like,
Yeah, so that way my phone doesn't ding.
How far away are you? Hold on.
let's go over this. But
Yeah.
I want to say, if listeners have specific questions or whatever, feel free to reach out. And we love hearing from you guys, and just anything we can do to help you become better and more knowledgeable. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, awesome, guys. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care, and God bless.